Hello, this is Gene. This is now the third time I've tried to do this. Clearly I do this later in the week when my brain is working better. But I'm going to try this again. Hopefully I'll get it right and I'll get it out to you guys today. This is my weekly episodic series on Cucks of the West. Today it's going to be Will Poulter. He is a British actor that's playing in the new movie Detroit, where he plays a quote-unquote racist white cop. Now, before I talk about Will, and I'll show you the video that he did that picked my interest and why I'm talking about him today. I didn't know this guy other than I'd seen him a couple of movies that he was in before. He was like one of those young adult movies. I don't know what it was called, but whatever. Didn't think anything of him. But I do have a little problem why here is a movie that's supposed to talk about a historical event that happened during the Detroit riots. And the two biggest stars in the movie are British actors. One's a black guy, the guy that was in The Force Awakens, and Will. And I'm like, why can't we find somebody in the United States that can play these roles? I don't really understand. This happens all the time. That you find out most of the people that you see find out later on they're British. Is it something that we don't allow young American men to be involved with this? Or maybe that the people that run the studios, the Jewish people especially, do they have an affinity for British young men? You know, there is a little of a involvement of pedophilia that goes on in Hollywood. Maybe they like British men. I don't know. So I'm not saying this guy's been a victim of it. This is a big kid. He's 6'2". I'll show you his video, and don't really understand why he's really a star at all. He's a very average-looking dude. His acting credits or anything that really great to think about. And also, I'll let you know that his mom was raised in Africa, Kenya specifically. And I guess his grandfather was a warden there. So I think that it's very possible that his mother probably raised him like, son, you do know that you have all this white privilege because did you see when I was growing up, everybody was black and we had to take care of them in Kenya because they couldn't have their own farms, so we had to do that for them. And you should be so thankful that you grew up as a white person, and because of that, you're going to have to do things about it. You know, you're going to have to talk about it, and you're going to do stuff for people that are not as fortunate as you. Okay, I guess overall, maybe that's not a bad thing to do. You want your kids to be sensitive to other people, but when you listen to what he has to say, you might understand why he is the problem. People that have this thought processes are the problem, and I guess I was one of those people as well. I don't think I would never go as far as this guy's in this little video, but I will say that I always thought that as a liberal for a long time, I thought what I was trying to do was the right thing to do, and I didn't really go further down into my feelings. When I really did that, when I shed off that cultural Marxism and the white guilt and all that stuff, I was really saying that I didn't think that black people especially could take care of themselves and that we had to take care of them, and I was willing to pay part of my taxes to do this. And then I realized that it's so dehumanizing and racist. It's clearly racist to think that way. Now, we can talk about IQ and all other stuff, but in the United States, African Americans, a little bit lower in the IQ than the normal American white person, but they could still have a good life. They can do things if they just get up and do it. And we can talk about what the problem is in the black community. It's clearly single mothers and no fathers in the house. That's the problem. It's always been the problem since it started when the first no-fault divorce started, and the state basically saying that they will give any woman who has a kid money. So women decide that the big state is going to be the daddy, and they don't really care about other people. Don't want to talk about that, Rare. You people who've watched my videos in the past know how I feel about that. So I'll go ahead and I'll show you this video. You can listen to what he has to say. Then we'll talk about some of the things he had to say, and we'll talk a little bit more after that. Hopefully this will be better. Last time I've not been able to get it online, or you couldn't see it. Go back, please. See my Wi-Fi to catch up here. Just thinking about it. Oh, come on. Change here. Sorry about this.
Be prepared.
Here he is. Ah.
Be prepared to find no truth, no sound or sturdy basis for rationale. The thought structures that inform racist behaviour are totally mythological. It's built on white propaganda and lies. So if you're looking for any sort of facts, you're not going to find them. It's not like, when you research something, you're looking at facts and statistics. When you approach a role of a racist, you're not going to find any truths or anything based in reality. You're going to have to embrace ignorance, and understanding my own white privilege, understanding the unearned privilege that I have and the undeserved suffering of others has been very enlightening, and I know what is a drop in the ocean of what I should know, and I think what people should know, and I would encourage people to try and have the same experience that I have, which is to learn more and educate yourselves on other people, and develop a better empathy and understanding for people outside your own ethnicity group, and learn about the white role in racial history. It's vital we understand that if we're going to help with the progression and the great work that has been done to kind of move forward from a race relation standpoint.
Wow. Every time I hear that, now I said this the third time I've done this, each time it gets me more and more infuriating. He basically blames only white people on all the issues ever when it comes to race relations. And that he talks about being enlightened. Well, clearly he was enlightened because he was studied at places that just shoves down cultural Marxism all the time, down your throat. He went to a private day school. Parents had a lot of money. He went to a place that's lily white. All they do is go out to the community and virtual signal all the damn time. Now, that's okay. They should do that. You should want your kid to be sensitive and work in the community and help people around. But at the end of the night, they go back to the school and it's 99% white. They go home where it's 99% white. They go behind dated windows and have somebody out front to defend their house. And then they're the ones that say, oh, it's fine that anybody comes from Africa to England. It's fine. Everybody should come in. Everybody should pay for that. Even though I'm going to live in this nice house and no one's going to come near me. It's like J.K. Rowling with 9 mansions won't have anybody there to stay with her. It's the same thing over and over again. And this guy, because he's young, for some reason he's an actor, people will look at him as somewhat of a role model and think that what he's saying is somewhat the truth. And it's the same thing I want to talk about, is that he thinks he's the good guy. It's the fallacy of the white liberal that says that what I'm doing is the right thing to do because I'm trying to help people. Regardless of what I get back in return, it's not because I'm not going to get, I'm going to feel good about it to myself, that it's not going to make me feel better about myself because I'm helping people across the street or across the country or across the state. It makes me feel good about it. So when I go to sleep at night, I know I did good things. But then when they really look down, and when you become a liberal and you actually take the red pill and other things, and you realize that all that time that you think you were doing the good things, and I did the same thing, certainly not probably at the same level that this guy did. I mean, financially I'm talking about. Or just him putting his voice out there, and to be somebody like Emma Watson, because he sounds just like he's a he for she dude. He just sounds so much like it. He talks about unearned white privilege and all this bullshit. But getting back to what I was saying, the white liberal, when you figure out and you take that red pill and you go down far enough, it doesn't come out right away. But then you realize all that you did was racist to the people of color, because you basically said they're not smart enough to do anything to get off, whatever the bad thing that's going on. And because you didn't really research either. If you'd actually look back in the 1950s and 60s, before some of the shit that happened in our country, the black family was doing pretty well. It wasn't at the same level economically as the white family, but it was very close. It's not like that now. It's getting worse every decade, and it's all basically because of what I said before. The black community is being raised by the welfare state. So the other issues he talked about is unearned white privilege. Now, somebody doesn't get this idea without being indoctrinated. Why would any young man ever have that idea of thinking that way? You can be sensitive. You can help for other people. Clearly, somebody said to him this in his formative years, and he believes it. But my question to him and people like him that says, so you're saying that as a white person I have unearned white privilege. So what does that mean about other races? Do they have earned privilege then? Because clearly in the United States, they have that. They have scholarships that are just based on the color of their skin. Even on when it comes to gender, a lot of scholarships are just for females that men can't get. They have different things that are just basically just for them. And meanwhile, the person that actually pays for all the taxes has to say is the heterosexual white male. We pretty much pay about 75% of all the taxes in the country, and these taxes go to these type of programs. So it gets old when somebody who's 24 is telling me that as a white person I need to basically check my privilege to look and research what's happened, because it's all under this bullshit about white lies and propaganda. But because apparently the stuff that was told in school was wrong. That what he found out, that the history books that were written by white people that didn't say anything about slavery, apparently, where the media never talks about this ad nauseum about how the black people are oppressed, that Muslims are oppressed, that Hispanics are oppressed, that gay people are oppressed, that everybody in the world is oppressed, and the only person that's not oppressed is white. Regardless whether you have money or you're a homeless man, you're not oppressed. That doesn't happen at all, apparently. Never. It's everywhere. And he has the temerity to say that it's all white lies and propaganda. Well, the only real propaganda that's going on isn't from white people, it's from Jewish people. And that gets me back to Detroit, the movie. The movie itself is a snapshot in time in Detroit during that time, in one area, the Algiers Hotel. It was another time where, quote-unquote, a racist cop was tried for about something and wasn't convicted, just like Rodney King and some of the other things. It happens a lot. So, in the old times, it happened all the time. Guys got away with shit. But the person that's directing this movie is Catherine Bigelow. It's a woman that did Hurt Locker, 0.30. One of the movies I liked that she did was it Point Break? Yeah, Point Break, the first one. I thought that was pretty good. Those other two other movies were overrated, just because, I don't want to say because she was a female doing it. They were okay. They shouldn't have won the Academy Award, let's just say that. But everybody above them, all the producers, all the studio execs, are all Jewish people. And you can say, Gene, it doesn't really mean anything. We already know that the Jewish people run Hollywood. But then if you look at their Twitter feeds and the anti-white rhetoric that they have on their Twitter feed, it makes you realize that this movie, as any well-intentioned director would be, it's still going to be blame Whitey, because the riots were Whitey's fault, that we haven't done enough for the black people. This is what 2 or 3 years after we signed the Civil Rights Act and some of the other things that basically started the whole welfare state, that basically destroyed the black community. So as white liberals, we had to pay for that. Somewhere in our ideology, has to say that we fucked up the black community by doing it. And a lot of good black YouTube conservatives are coming out basically saying that you need to get off the plantation, the democratic plantation for black people. And some are doing that. But it's just the Jewish people are still running this shit. So I don't necessarily believe that it's going to be a fair and depiction of the events. In fact, one of the reviewers that I saw said that it's Catherine's version of the events, because we don't know exactly what happened in those rooms and whether or not something happened that might have been racist, or they decided they had to find a person that did the things and maybe they railroaded them. Happens all the time in the United States, happened in the 60s, happens today. But overall, this guy clearly, because I've told you many times that I think that there's a nexus when it comes to the alt-right, and Millennial Wolves have talked about this, and other people on the alt-right have talked about this, that generation at Z is going to be probably that generation that actually gets us to the point that we understand there is a little difference between the races, and we're going to stop some of the stupid shit that we're doing. If we don't, obviously the West is going to be lost. I mean, everybody sees what's going on. But guys like this, who's going to be Will, I'm talking about, who has somewhat in his mind, he thinks he has some sort of power based on his naive view of the world, and how he blames white people for everything, and he has to atone for it. Look, you're not Jesus, son of a bitch. You're not, okay? You're an actor. You look after some words on a script. You're nobody. You're not better than anybody else. You're not better than a guy down the road that digs the ditches or gives the mail to us. All you do is I could do that shit. I could do it now, and I can't even look at shit anymore. I can't look at the working word and read it out. But I'm not going to say you're privileged because you're an actor, okay? And I don't have a problem that you have your own opinion. But when you sit there and say other people are not as enlightened as you, that you think that other people aren't as enlightened as you are because you've researched all this at 24 years of age and you know the real truth. You don't know shit. And that's basically what I have to say about it. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments, let me know before or down below. And if there's anybody that you want me to call out and anything, just let me know. And again, thank you very much for talking, listening, and please like and share this. And you guys have a good day. Bye.